Hey, 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 wondering how Biden's student loan forgiveness will impact your credit scores? Many of you guys have been asking this. I was actually shocked because I'm like, if you're getting 20 or even $10,000 forgiveness and you find out, oh my goodness, it's going to drop my scores, you're going to get the money back? No, you're not. But fortunately, you do not have to worry about that because it's not going to have a drastic impact at all. So I'm actually going to break that down and make sense of that today. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Netiva, the Frugal CrediTnista. I'm a financial educator who owns the Frugal CrediTnista financial education firm, where we teach our students how to master their money, destroy their debts, and soar their credit scores so that they can begin leveraging their finances to create wealth. So let's get to it. Usually when I teach about FICO, I always break down the 5 categories that it considers. Payment history, which is 35% of our scores. Amount owed, which is 30% of our scores. Age, which is 15% of our scores. Credit mix, which is 10%. And new credit, which is 10%. So let's break that down, starting with payment history. So most of us should have stellar payment history, at least for the last 2+ years, because of the student loan pause that the government has enacted. So that is a positive thing. So that means that our federal student loans, not the private, the federal student loans should show great, paid satisfactory, green, or okay when we look at our credit reports, right? So when the student loan forgiveness amount is applied, it doesn't matter if it completely pays it off or it pays on it. As long as it is paid in the satisfactory state, it's all good. And remember, even if it pays it off and it closed the account, open and closed, all of those payment accounts are calculated or factored into your payment history. So it's not like it's going to be paid off and you lose that history. No, as long as it's on your report, it is being calculated and considered into your payment history. So that'll be a positive thing. You'll have a paid off positive account, right? Now let's look at amount owed, which is up to 30% of our scores. Now, credit cards dominate this area. And it's not that installment loans, which is what student loans are ignored. It simply means that they are not scored as much. However, when any type of installment loan is paid about 30% to 40% down from the amount that is originally borrowed, it is started to score more into the amount owed category. So if your student loan forgiveness amount, $10,000 or $20,000, is applied to that installment loan and it reduces the overall balance by like 30% or more, you're going to see a decent little bump in your scores as long as everything else is on point, right? Now, if it only applies to 1, 3, 5% of the overall amount that you owe on the student loans, I mean, you're not going to see a lot of a difference. So it's not going to be as big as those who had a huge chunk. So, I mean, it's not going to be negative. You just won't get that nice positive as some of our other prosperity partners will get. So now, if your student loan is completely paid off, is brought to $0, this is a good thing because less debt equals less risk. I mean, you have less debt. That's always a positive thing. And all you have to do is make sure that you're utilizing your credit card and other credit accounts as efficiently or effectively as possible, AKA keeping balances low. Now, let's talk about credit mix. This is where it gets a little tricky because some of our prosperity partners only have credit cards and student loans. Like that's their mix. And remember, credit mix looks at how well you properly manage different types of credit. So with credit mix, you got your credit cards. Let's say those are in decent standing or good standing to excellent standing. Then you have your installment loans. If your installment loans only include student loans, and then the forgiveness wipes them completely off, meaning it pays them completely off, then now you only have credit cards. You no longer have a mix. You could experience a drop. This means that you got to make sure that your balances are as low as possible, not zero. You can have maybe most of them at zero, maybe one with a small little balance reporting month over month over month, but you can still pay off in full. But you can have one paid month over month over month, small balance. And that way, even though you don't really have a mix, it's only up to 10% of our scores. Everything else is on point, payment history, amount owed, utilization. So it's not going to be as much of a negative impact. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing well with the accounts that are positively reporting on your credit report. Now, if your balance decreases and it's not paid off, I mean, then you're all good, right? You still got that mix going on. Now let's talk about age. This literally looks at the oldest account in your credit report in addition to the average age of all of your accounts. Fortunately for age, both open and closed accounts are still considered. So it doesn't matter if your loan is paid on or completely paid off. Your age is still going to include that account because as long as it's on your credit report, it's going to be considered in your age, just like what I talked about with your payment history. Now, new credit, that's the fifth one. New credit, that is where a lot of your inquiries lie. So inquiries are considered and kind of dominate that area. Student loans have nothing to do with inquiries, okay? And it's not like you have a new account that's coming on your report once it gets paid off or paid on. So that is not impacted at all whatsoever. So overall, the only thing you really have to look out for is the credit mix. And if that's if the loan is completely paid off, okay? And remember, when a loan is completely paid off anyway, I won't say some, actually a lot of times the scores drop a little bit, temporary drop. It takes about 2 to 3 months for, I guess, things to recalibrate or whatever. And then your scores bounce back up. So sometimes that'll happen anyway. So take this into consideration based on some of the financial goals that you may have at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, right? So if your loan is going to be completely paid off and you don't have a lot of a credit mix going on and you're looking to make a major purchase, car, home, anything that's credit related, then you may have a little fluctuation around that time. So you just got to plan accordingly. So hopefully this answered you guys' questions. Again, if you have any further ones, you can post them inside of the comments. I'm actually going to have a student loan challenge probably around a time that the forgiveness is going to take place for those of you who A, didn't qualify like me. Okay. And B, for those of you who still have a balance, just so you guys kind of know what the different repayment plans are, how to look and see and find out where all of your loan information is, interest rates, learn about consolidation. And I'll actually grab one of my biz colleagues, AKA one of my wealth partners who works at the Department of Education, to come in and lend us her knowledge as well. So that's going to be in the first quarter of the year after the forgiveness plans have come on point. And I'll actually do a Q&A, a free Q&A for those of you who had your loans paid off, because I'm sure, even though I've said all this, some of you are going to be freaked out when you start seeing even a small fluctuation in your scores. And I just kind of want to give you some rebuilding tips on that. But yeah, got any questions? Definitely drop them down below. I left the email list link for you. I left my 5-day credit class for you down below. And because I know I always get these questions when I talk about paying on credit cards, I also left the link to the video on the best way, the right way to pay your credit card month over month without incurring any debts. All right, Prosperity Partners, I will see you next time. Later.